at being cute. So we are 8 days into NaNoWriMo as I am filming this video, and I think I'm going to hit 20,000 words soon. I did not do any writing this weekend. I spent most of the weekend, the work that I did was filming my video that went up on Tuesday. That would be tomorrow. It hasn't gone up yet, but by the time you guys see this video, it will be up. That's the one about the DOJ and their lawsuit against Penguin Random House. I worked on that video over the weekend. I didn't do any writing. I spent the rest of the time relaxing, and I woke up this morning, Monday morning, ready to go. I gotta say, I hate daylight savings, but that extra hour has been really nice. It's so great to like wake up and it's actually getting light outside. And it just, yeah, I felt it. I felt the extra hour. I feel like I got an exceptional amount of work done today. I finished my client work. I wrote 4,000 words on this book for a client. I had that done by about 11 o'clock. And then after lunch I had, I don't think I told you guys this, but I actually am going to be part of the We Need Diverse Books mentor program that is starting up again in January of 2022, which means I'm going to get matched with a mentee, I think a middle grade author, and read their manuscript and give them advice and feedback and publishing industry chat and all of that good stuff. I have done the mentorship program before, although this was in the earlier days of We Need Diverse Books, and this was like a publishing industry mentorship. So the person I mentored was actually had just started as an intern at, I can't remember, one of the big 5 houses. But anyway, I digress. We had a call about that today, just talking about, you know, logistics and an opportunity for us to ask questions, and I'm just really excited about that. That's going to start in January, so I look forward to sharing the process with you guys. And then I opened up Scrivener and I started importing words from my notebook into my Scrivener document, and I got 2,000 words, a little, I think it was over that, like 2,100 words pretty quick. Entered it into, you know, the NaNoWriMo website, took Rosa on a walk, ran some errands, came home, and I was like, you know, I could do a little bit more, so I knocked out another 400 words. I know I keep saying this, but so much of this is going so fast because I'm just importing and adding, but that just makes it so much easier to actually sit down and write when I have words to look at, and I'm like, I'm just copying them. And then I get into a groove and start adding more and more and building out the scene. I'm very curious to see what happens when I actually get through everything I've written in the notebook. Curious to see both what that total word count will actually be and how close I feel I am to the actual end of the book. Like, will 50,000 words feel like the end? Will it go a lot longer than that? Will it come up short of that? I have no idea. We will see. But something really fun that happened today is, I told you guys I've been reading this book, Cultish, and I read something this afternoon. This is actually part of the reason why I stopped what I was doing and went and added 400 more words, because I read something that helped me develop a backstory / character relationship thing. My main character and the character I've talked about in previous vlogs that is not the villain but who I really, really dislike, the one whose head I didn't want to get in, but eventually I started writing her POV. So they have a connection in their backstory, although the character I don't like is not aware of this. And let me tell you what I read first. So this character who I don't like is a certain type of influencer, and in the book, so this part that I'm talking about, it says, following a guru who provides an identity template from one's politics to one's hairstyle eases the chooser's paradox. Just being able to say, I'm a Glossier girl, or I follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, softens the burden and responsibility of having to make so many independent choices about what you think and who you are. It cuts the overwhelming number of answers you need to have down to a manageable few. And that's something that, I mean, I think we all can, at certain points in our life, we have little or big existential crises of, who am I? Wait a minute. Who am I exactly? What is my identity? What do I stand for? What do I believe? Everything feels so overwhelming. even in the best of times, and especially in the worst of times, as we have learned in the last, you know, year and a half, it is overwhelming. And it was really the way this book worded it just made it click for me, like, wow, this really must be a huge driving force behind why it's, you know, being an influencer is such a big deal, and so many people, why we have celebrity stands and just this kind of rise of really, even if it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek, jokingly, of worshiping people and following them and doing what they do just because they're doing it, and how that makes it easy for us because it's like, oh, that's who I am too, unless you start thinking about it a little bit deeper, and then you start to wonder, wait, is that who I am? Who am I? And then cue the existential crisis. I don't know, that's a lot of rambling. But in regards to my main character and all the stuff she went through before the start of this book, this made so many things about her and how she views this influencer character who I dislike strongly at the start of it. Why it helped me like understand my main character's kind of mindset and emotional reaction to being in the same house as this character. And yeah, I just thought the whole concept of identity template, man, that was just really one of those, you know, unlocking the Pandora's box of ideas. So anyway, that's my Monday. I will check back in with you guys tomorrow and see how this is going. It's daylight savings. No, I know. It's not 6 o'clock. It's not 6 o'clock. No, it's not. No. Wednesday, November 10th, and I have officially crossed the 20,000 word mark on this book. I got a lot of words in on Lisa's live stream this morning, which was super fun as always, and after a lunch break I came back and crossed over to 21,000 words total on this project, and that brings me to the end of what I had written in my notebook. So if you recall, I thought I had done the math to figure out about how much I had written in my notebook. I thought I was close to 20,000 words in here, but there's no way that's accurate, because not only have I imported everything from here into Scrivener, I've expanded on every single scene, and I've added a scene that didn't exist before. So there's no way I've only added 1,000 words. Like, I think this was probably somewhere more like 14 or 15,000 words written by hand, which is still great. So in a way, I'm like sort of disappointed, because I thought this was 20,000, so when I would get through it, I would be closer to something more like 30,000 words, but whatever, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. What I do need to accept now is that, okay, so 21,000 words by November 10th, that's great. Obviously on track to win and get to 50,000 words. But it's gonna go a lot slower now, because now I'm back to creating scenes. I have not written them, and I'm not copying them, you know, straight from here in here. I do have, if you remember from some of my previous vlogs, I talked about how I get scene ideas and I write them down on note cards, and I don't know where they're gonna go yet, so I just stick them at the bottom of my board. I still have that. I have a lot of random scene ideas coming up, but I do not know where they will fall on the timeline, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to proceed from here. I do definitely, like I said, I really enjoy writing in my notebook, and also just the idea of not actually finishing some sort of draft in here makes me feel twitchy, like I would be doing something wrong, like I started it here so I need to finish it here. Obviously that's not true. I could just continue working in Scrivener. Another part of me is like, hey, you know, remember back in the days of Dragon Balloon, like getting big word counts in and getting lots of scenes out there for a super rough draft. Dictation worked super well, and I don't think I can actually dictate in Scrivener, but I could dictate in a Word document and then just copy and paste it over to Scrivener. I might try that, because that was the best part of drafting Dragon Balloon for me. Was I did get, you know, a rough draft. I think that book came out to 60,000 words all through dictation, and I know I wouldn't have been able to power through it if I hadn't been doing that every day. So maybe I want to switch to dictation. I don't know. But for right now, I mean, I've written almost 3,000 words today, so that's good for today. I'm gonna call that a win and close this down. Get back to reading Cultish, which I'm about halfway through. It is so good. It's so fascinating. I've been using the research folder on Scrivener and like keeping notes. So much stuff here that is just like really inspiring me for this book, and is also, to be honest, inspiring other book ideas as well. This stuff is it's just so fascinating. Anyway, so I'm gonna just do some reading for the rest of today. I do have a client consultation at 5 o'clock, and it's getting close to 3 o'clock, so I do like to kind of like rest my brain a little bit so that I am not exhausted and sick of talking about writing by the time I, you know, am meeting with a client who is paying me to talk about writing. And I will check back in with you guys tomorrow and see if we can come up with a plan on how I'm going to finish a draft of this book by the end of November. Wait, something I keep forgetting to tell you guys, because every time I turn the camera on and I start vlogging, to me vlogging is about my current writing progress, like what I am actually currently writing, and I never remember to talk about books that I actually have coming out, because I have books coming out. And I think a big part of the reason I keep forgetting to talk about this is because one of these books I literally went through the copy edits last summer, like 2020. So in my head, this book has already been released, like it's a done thing, but it hasn't been. It got super bumped because of COVID, because of all the printing issues, which are still going on, by the way. That is a whole other thing that I'm considering making a video about. So my editor at Scholastic contacted me, and I immediately, as soon as I saw the first couple lines of the email, I was like, oh my god, they're bumping this book again. It's literally never gonna come out. But it's actually great. So The Dog's Meow was supposed to come out in December, and My Otter Half was going to come out in January in trade. They're also going to be in Scholastic clubs and fairs, like at the book fairs, which I love, it's so awesome, for the spring 2022 catalog. And so anyway, what they ended up deciding to do, because of the printing issues, and if you don't know what I'm talking about and you want to see a video on that, let me know below, because this is a massive industry-wide issue that isn't just about COVID, although COVID definitely exacerbated the problem. But like, if you've noticed lately that there are delays when you order a book, like a paperback or a hardcover, there's our reason. It's a really huge issue. In fact, I will just go ahead and link a good article about it below if you're interested. Anyway, I'm rambling. So now, what my editor emailed to tell me was that The Dog's Meow and My Otter Half are both going to be released in bookstores in January, on January 4th, which is great. I'm so happy that they're both coming out at the same time. I think that just simplifies things, makes it a lot easier. Very cool. They're both going to be in that catalog together. And he also gave me a little bit of good news. And you know, I say this frequently on the channel. In fact, I know I said in a recent video that when it comes to like marketing and publicity, my expectations are on the floor. And that means I celebrate and am happy and encouraged by every piece of good news I get. And so I had two pieces of good news from my editor here. One is that clubs and fairs are supporting both titles, and My Otter Half will be an advertised title, which means fairs will put its full marketing force behind Otter. It comes with a much bigger commitment on their part. So that's really great, especially because I know Somebody to Love, which is my first middle grade with Scholastic, is also in clubs and fairs, and they do this thing in the catalogs where they bundle books together if they're all by one author, or just like obviously a series, or if they're, you know, similar genre, they'll bundle them together. And you know, the hope is that kids and parents will look and be like, oh, here's one super cute animal book. Well, why don't I buy these others too as well? We'll see how that goes. And then the other final piece of good news was that I got my Kirkus review. I have not had a trade review in so long. And it's a really nice review. And if you guys don't know, Kirkus in general can be really snarky. They're kind of like the one author's fear hearing from the most. I think they have always been kind to me, but I have seen some reviews from Kirkus on other books that hurt my soul. So like, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's a really, really great review. I won't read the whole thing, especially because as usual, half of it is just a summary of what the book is about, but it says, an unlikely animal friendship blooms when lost youngsters help each other out. Readers will delight in the otter and puppy antics that unfold. Information about otter behavior and abilities is woven into the storyline, along with descriptions of the environmental impact of oil spills. Chapters alternate between Lucy's, Franklin, and Ollie's perspectives, keeping the story moving forward at a fast clip. Two cute animals teaming up means double the fun in this romping adventure. So, hooray! I haven't gotten a review in so long. I've forgotten how fun and good that feels. So anyway, that's my good, happy, fun book news. And I will go ahead and link to those books in the description below if you care to pre-order them for the young reader in your life, or for yourself if you enjoy middle grade. All right, it is Thursday? Yes, Thursday afternoon. I worked on client stuff all morning. I've had a think about it. And right now, because I still have other stuff to do, I have another consultation tomorrow and I have a lot of material to read and I have to edit and upload this vlog. I think the best, most efficient way for me to get some good words in today is gonna be dictation. So let's do this. So apparently Scrivener does have a dictation function. I went up to edit and I found start dictation and I talked and nothing happened. And now I see stop dictation and I'm clicking it over and over again and nothing's happening. And dictation is apparently still going even though it's not going. I don't know. Something is clearly wrong. I went to try to look up and see if like there's a way to enable it, something I haven't done. I can't find any information on that. If you know how to use dictation in Scrivener and what I'm doing wrong, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just gonna dictate into Microsoft Word and copy and paste it over to Scrivener. A knock comes at the door, comma, 3 loud, sharp raps, period. So guess what? Dictation is still magic. I just got about 2,100 words. It was 2 scenes plus the start of another scene in less than 45 minutes. Absolutely not something I can do typing by hand. There is just something about walking around, pacing, and just like describing a scene to myself that makes it come so much quicker. And I'm really happy with what I got because, to be honest, I was starting to feel, I was definitely feeling a little bit stuck. I didn't have, you know, I finished what was in my notebook yesterday. I have some scenes that I'm aiming for, but they didn't fit. They weren't the next scene, you know what I mean? They're a little bit later in the story, so I wasn't sure what was gonna happen next. And I took a few minutes before I started writing to look over the last 3 or 4 scenes I'd written and try to figure out, okay, let's start with POV. Which character do I feel like I need to visit next? Where are they all? What's happening? And whose story do I need to focus on at this particular point? This is definitely, if we're talking in like Save the Cat terms, this is the bad guys close in. They are deep in it. Things are going really weird. The house is being strange. The house in this book, I think, is like its own character in a way. And it's fun, and I'm like splitting them all up and strange things are happening to them, and it's really fun. So I looked at it and I was like, you know, it's been 3 scenes since I've been with my main character. And I went back and read her last scene and realized I'm having my kind of classic problem that I've talked about before. This is a personal thing that happens to me when I write multi-POV books, is I get so invested in and interested in the side characters and what's going on with them that it becomes more interesting to me than the main character's arc, and I start to lose the main character's purpose and her story. So I was like, okay, I need to write a scene from her point of view. And what I did before I even really started the scene is I brainstormed out loud what her current mindset was and what action she would take. I started to get the sense that she was slipping into being too passive. There was a reveal a few scenes before this that really kind of knocked her flat, and that's okay, that's good, that happens, but a character can only be shell-shocked for so long before it's like, okay, we'll do something. What are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna handle this? And I mentioned earlier a few days ago that I had a revelation about her and her backstory with the influencer character that I don't like. And I realized that their paths were going to cross in this scene naturally because of where I left off with that character that I don't like. And that turned out to be kind of like the starting point for me figuring out, oh, okay, that's what's going on with her. That's what this scene is about. And the plot began to move forward again, finally. So that was nice. And I'm sure I would have gotten there had I been typing it or writing it by hand, but dictation just got me there faster. I don't know why, it just does. And then I wrote another scene from a different character's point of view after I finished hers. There are a few characters at this moment who are trapped, locked in a wine cellar with a dead body, and the dead body vanishes, and they're trying to figure out how that happened, and one by one they each vanish too. So the last scene that I wrote was from the point of view of the last man standing down there who realizes he's alone in a wine cellar and he doesn't know how 2 people and a corpse just disappeared. It's just really fun. So yeah, now I feel like I have some momentum again. I feel great about getting 2,100 words. I feel great about being over 23,000 words in this project. So tomorrow is Friday, and I feel pretty confident that I will be able to hit 25,000 words, which will put me at halfway to 50 for the month, which is awesome. I definitely now can tell that I will hit the end of this draft before 50,000 words. So I think what I'll do, if that happens before the end of the month, before the end of NaNoWriMo, I'm probably going to go back to the beginning and start really fleshing out the scenes more and turning those first few scenes, especially from the kind of like rambly summary that it is, into a real draft with narration and like maybe a voice would be good. And you know, something that looks more like a first draft, and start fleshing it out, because while my primary goal is to get a rough draft completed for NaNoWriMo, it would be satisfying to hit that 50,000 word mark. So anyway, that's where things are. It's still going great. Let me know how your NaNoWriMo is going, and if you're not doing Nano, how your writing's going, life in general. Keep me updated in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week.